So I've had the AYN Odin for about 6 months now, and I wanted to do a follow-up video to my review and just talk about what I really think about this device. And overall, my opinion is that it's awesome. It's just such a great handheld. You know, when I think about how much I love the Vita and how much I've always been playing it, I didn't know if I would find another handheld that I would kind of think would be kind of on par with it, but this is pretty close. It's just a great handheld. It feels really comfortable to hold and play on. The buttons are kind of really good to play. Like it just feels good to use. In my opinion, it looks really kind of sleek as well. It fits in the pocket, unlike the regular Switch. And even though I've got the Steam Deck, I'm still playing this, I find, more than the Steam Deck. And really there's kind of three uses for this in terms of gaming for me. You've got Android games, and you've got streaming, and you've got emulation. Now, when it comes to Android games, there are some decent games on the store. You've got some games like Call of Duty Mobile, which I actually think is a really good game, really fun, easy to get into and play. Square Enix have been pretty good at supporting Android and iOS. You've got Danganronpa. You've got some kind of more indie sort of hardcore games like Dead Cells, Streets of Rage 4. Great games, and I felt like I would just buy them again, even though I had them on Switch, just because they're so cheap on mobile, and it just kind of more great games to play on this thing. But if I'm honest, I don't use it as much for Android gaming as kind of the other two aspects. So emulation, I have been using it for emulation, testing out different PS2 games, GameCube games, and when it comes down to it, PS2, the games do need tweaking. They won't all run perfectly when you first start them up, but they run pretty well. I found God of War 2 is a little bit slow, but for the most part, as long as you can mess around with the settings, you can get them to run pretty well, which is impressive. GameCube as well, I found that they run great. GameCube runs great on this. Wii is slow. Again, if you can mess around with the settings, you can try and find kind of that sweet spot for some of the games, but I do find that it's not perfect when it comes to Wii. What has really impressed me is Switch emulation. It doesn't play everything. It is kind of the emulator Skyline is in its early days, but it's really impressive what it can achieve. I've been playing 13 Sentinels on the Switch emulator. I've already got it on Switch, but I just never bothered starting it, but I felt like I would start it on this, and it runs really well. It looks amazing. It's just really cool that you can play other games on it, and so like Hollow Knight will run on this, SteamWorld Dig 2, and a load of other games. I'm kind of going blank in my head in terms of what's playable, but I've been really impressed with the Switch emulation on this. When it comes to streaming, that again is another area where I'm spending a lot of my time actually. Originally I was playing Game Pass a lot, so I got the Game Pass subscription for a few months, and it was great. Playing Hitman 3, Guardians of the Galaxy, it works really well, I find. But recently I've been playing a lot of Stadia, and Stadia is awesome actually, and it's just perfect on this device. You can kind of take it to bed and play on it. You've got like these AAA games, and I've got decent internet connection at the house, so it runs flawlessly. Playing Destiny 2 or Far Cry 6, it runs amazingly well on this. I know the games, they haven't got kind of really new games there, but the games it has got, it's got a decent selection there. And then I've also been using Remote Play as well on it. And again, it just feels so comfortable to hold. Admittedly, it's more comfortable to hold than the Vita. I think the grips, the hand grips that you've got here, just make it a bit more comfortable to hold. And it's also nice having kind of that extra button at the back. So you've got the clickable analog sticks, but then you've also got kind of these extra two back buttons, which you can map to different controls, which is really nice. I think that's really good for accessibility, and I much prefer it to L3 and R3 when you're clicking down the analog sticks. Apart from that, it is an Android device, so even when it comes to watching movies or what I did before I went on holiday recently, I kind of downloaded a load of Eurogamer and IGN articles to help me write my PS3 book. So it's kind of useful as kind of a work device as well, not just in terms of gaming, but it really shines when it comes to gaming. when you have Android games that are kind of touchscreen, you can actually kind of create controls that map to the different buttons into the analog sticks, which is really cool. It does feel like a device that's really sort of made for gaming. They've thought about it really well, and they've kind of introduced features that just work so well to make this into a really great device for gaming. I love it. I think it's awesome. I can't recommend this enough. I think the one drawback to this is AYN, the company that makes this, have been pretty bad when it comes to shipping. And so there have been people who are waiting for a year to get their device. I'm hoping they're kind of speeding up a little bit, but that's probably the main downside to this. It's a really awesome device, but it just they are slow when it comes to shipping. There are, just so you guys are aware, there's sort of 3 versions of this. I've got the Odin Pro. There's kind of the Odin Pro, and the Odin Lite. The Odin and the Pro run on Android 10, and the Odin Lite runs on Android 11. If you're into, I think the main way I see it is that if you want streaming of games as your main use, then you probably want to go for the Odin Lite because it's got better Wi-Fi. But if you want emulation or playing native games on it, then you want the Pro or the regular Odin. But guys, this is just awesome. Really, really cool system. Great selection of games. If you want to check out retro games and on an emulator, this is awesome. Playing PSP games, playing PS1 games, and having PS2 as well. But like I said, for me right now, Stadia is kind of what I'm using the most, and probably PS Remote Play. Playing Cyberpunk right now from my PS5 onto this, and it just works really well. It's great. And then Stadia for a lot of Destiny 2 right now. But guys, this is awesome. I can't recommend it enough. And I know if you're like me, who've been looking kind of for that new handheld, if you're kind of finding that you want something newer than the Vita, I think this is great. I think it's really, really great. And the Steam Deck is cool. I'm loving my Steam Deck, but it's just so big. It's so big. I don't feel I can take it around with me. If I'm going on holiday, I don't want to carry kind of something that's wider than my laptop, or it's just massive. Whereas something like this, it'll easily kind of fit in my pocket, my jacket pocket, or into a small bag, and I can easily take it around with me, which is great. And the price is fairly cheap as well. At least I got it at a decent price when I got it from the Indiegogo campaign. So it just feels great. And AYN are coming out with a new device called the AYN Loki. They should be shipping it later this year, but given the problems they've had shipping the Odin, I don't know if they're going to actually achieve any of their deadlines. Hopefully they will, because I've ordered the Loki Max, which is basically like kind of a similar form factor to this, a bit wider, a bit sort of thicker, but it's more powerful than a Steam Deck, apparently, hopefully. But I'll see when it comes through. But the AYN Odin, guys, I think this is a great little system. Can't recommend it enough. I think for emulation, for streaming, it's awesome. And if there are Android games you're interested in, then again, this is really great for that. So guys, have you checked out the AYN Odin? What do you think of it? Leave a comment below, and as always, thanks for watching.